Audio 11.1 Story 1
In France, a supermarket chain has been selling ugly fruit and vegetables to customers at a discounted rate to raise awareness of the problem of food waste and provide customers with a cheaper shopping alternative. The aim of the campaign is to highlight the fact that millions of tons of food are wasted every year because many supermarket buyers refuse to buy odd-shaped fruit and vegetables from farmers. Customers were invited to blind taste both the ugly and standard fruit, and they admitted that they tasted exactly the same. The supermarket claims that the campaign was a success. All the ugly fruit and vegetables were sold out within 3 days, and the number of customers rose by 24% during that period. The supermarket has announced that it is now looking at rolling out the campaign across all of its stores in France.
Story 2
A new species of monkey has been discovered in the forests of Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. A team of wildlife conservationists based in Cambridge in the UK made the discovery after hunters reported seeing a monkey which was unlike anything else in the area. The monkeys have a wide, turned-up nose, which fills with water when it rains. The local people assured the conservationists that the monkeys would be easy to locate because whenever it was raining, water would get up their noses and they could be heard sneezing. Consequently, the monkeys spend rainy days sitting with their heads between their knees to avoid this. Although the discovery of a new species is exciting, conservationists have warned that these monkeys were already on the endangered species list.
Story 3
In Norway, 2 teenagers found cash worth $81,500 in a bag on a train and handed it in to the police. The money belonged to an elderly man who had left the bag on the seat. The bag also contained a passport belonging to the man. The teenagers immediately called the police to inform them that they had found the money. Police have praised the teenagers for being honest, but the teens denied acting heroically, pointing out that the cash wasn't actually theirs, and it hadn't occurred to them to keep it. The police were unable to confirm whether the teenagers had received a reward for their honesty.
Audio 11.2 1
The supermarket has announced it will continue the campaign. The supermarket has announced it will continue the campaign.
2
The supermarket claims that the campaign was a success. The supermarket claims that the campaign was a success.
3
The teenagers pointed out that the cash wasn't actually theirs. The teenagers pointed out that the cash wasn't actually theirs.
4
Hunters reported seeing an unusual monkey in the area. Hunters reported seeing an unusual monkey in the area.
Audio 11.3
Admit. Announce. Assure. Confirm. Deny. Inform. Invite. Persuade. Refuse. Remind. Report.
Audio 11.4 1
Don't forget to email him.
2,
I did not copy her essay.
3,
I'm not eating that.
4,
Yes, I'm sorry, I drove very carelessly.
5,
Don't worry, I won't be late.
6,
Would you like to come to the concert with me?
Audio 11.5.
Excuse me, could you spare a few minutes to answer some questions for a survey about the role of online news in people's lives?
Okay.
Sure.
Great. So, if I could just ask you your names.
Luke,
Rosie.
Right. So, first of all, can you tell me how often you look at online news sites?
it's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, and the last thing I do before going to sleep. I also check them several times a day. I don't know, 10 times, 15, maybe more.
More, I'd say.
I suppose I do find it quite addictive. Not because I need to know everything that's happening in the news, but just because I need something to fill the time when I've got nothing to do. Like when I'm on the train or when the adverts come on TV.
Rosie, how often do you use online news sites?
Not often, to be honest. I don't have a smartphone, so I don't read the news on my phone. Also, I have a computer-based job, and I'd rather not spend my life staring at a computer screen. So I tend to watch the news on TV in the morning before I go to work.
So, you never read the news online?
Obviously, I do occasionally on my laptop. But there's so much information, it's hard to know sometimes where to start. I also don't trust a lot of what's online, apart from a very small number of sites. I don't feel the news is very objective. It's often not based on facts.
And do either of you ever read a printed newspaper?
What, you mean an actual paper newspaper? No, never. Too expensive. And the size, especially the big ones, the broadsheets, they're unmanageable. So difficult to hold when you're on the train or whatever.
I read printed newspapers. I like the physical feel of them. I sometimes read the free ones you get at the underground stations, but I'd never actually pay for one.
So, tell me what kind of news sites you like.
Well, I like to read a combination of serious news sites. You know, the online app versions of serious newspapers, which give reliable news. News that you can believe. But I also like more informal sites, like BuzzFeed, which, as well as being entertaining, are often quite informative. You can learn a lot from them. But the main reason I like to read those is that they are specifically aimed at my generation. So, people in their 20s.
I'm not so keen on that kind of site.
What do you like?
I'm particularly interested in local and regional news and stuff that's relevant to my life and work. The other thing I like, and Luke doesn't approve of this at all, is looking at celebrity photos and gossip. But, you know, I have a very stressful job and sometimes I need to read something light-hearted, something that doesn't require too much mental effort.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both very much for taking the time to answer my questions. It's been very helpful.
You're welcome.
Audio 11.6. Conversation 1.
Did you see that story about the Mexican woman who's just turned 127?
127? Seriously?
Yes, she's the oldest person who has ever lived, apparently. According to the article, she claims she was born in 1887. Imagine that.
Blimey. So she must have lived through a few interesting historical events then.
I know. And it says in the article I read that she's got something like 73 great-grandchildren and 55 great-great-grandchildren. The sad thing is that several members of her family have already died before her.
Well, yes, sad. But it's hardly surprising, really.
Apparently, although her physical health is not that great, she's really mentally aware and still tells some incredible stories of the Mexican Revolution.
So is she in the Guinness Book of Records then?
Well, apparently not, because she hasn't got any proof of her age. She claims she lost her birth certificate while moving house 40 years ago.
Gosh.
Conversation 2.
Did you read about that guy who's just run a marathon wearing a diving suit?
A diving suit?
Yes, but not a modern, tight-fitting diving suit, but one of those old-fashioned ones from the 1940s.
Weren't they really heavy in those days?
Yes, this suit was incredibly heavy, around 59 kilos or something.
You're kidding! That must have slowed him down a bit.
Yes, just a bit. It took him 6 days, supposedly.
Wow! That's amazing. So who is this guy?
Oh, his name's Lloyd something or other. I can't remember his last name, but he's English, and from what it said in the article, he's quite well known for doing these charity marathons dressed up in costumes. What's amazing about him is that he was diagnosed with leukemia several years ago. He survived that and has since raised something in the region of £5 million for charity.
That is impressive.
Yeah. The article had some really funny pictures of him doing the run. Here, look. I'll show you on my phone.
Audio 11.7. 1.
This is a situation in which people, groups or countries are involved in a serious disagreement or argument. It also describes a violent situation or period of fighting between countries.
2.
This verb means to be badly affected by a disease, pain, sadness, or the lack of something.
3.
This means carrying a weapon, for example, a gun.
4.
This describes something that makes you feel anxious, upset, or shocked.
5.
This describes something that gives you hope.
6.
This describes an important development that may lead to an agreement or achievement.